Hey guys, it's Tenice here with Organized to the T. Today I have a very, very special guest and a very good friend, Verita Nathalie Richardson. She is an influencer and entrepreneur. And today she is taking out some time to have a little interview with me and share her knowledge and her tips on organization and business. So Verita, thank you for coming on.
Of course.
Please tell us more about yourself.
So, as he said, my name is Verita. I am an influencer. You can find me at CurvesNMuscles on Instagram, and I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm an event planner. I specialize in cannabis, weddings, and events. And on top of that, I also do social media, branding, and coaching.
Yes, awesome. And you guys, she's amazing. I've only been in business for a couple of years, and social media marketing and marketing in general, especially if you did not go to college for it or had extensive training, it's hard. Especially to keep up and to actually be effective. It's hard to have people on your team, on your side that can help you and coach you along the way. It's priceless. So Verita, just a couple of questions because I know you're super duper busy. So you told us a little bit more about yourself, but I want to know a little bit more about your feelings in your space. So how does it feel in your space when it is organized versus unorganized?
Oh gosh. So I am definitely a messy creature by nature. Despite being a planner, I definitely am one of those people that can operate in organized clutters, but everyone has their limits. So when I get to a point where I do feel too unorganized, I tend to feel a little anxious. And I have a really hard time focusing if I'm working in a space that's too messy, whether it's my desk or I'm just not allowing myself the time to just clean things up before I get to work. Sometimes I can't even focus. I find myself scrolling on my phone more, wandering into tasks that aren't necessarily important. But when my space is organized, I feel really creative. I feel really confident, almost like anything that comes to mind is something that I can and should and will generally work on right then and there, even if it does take away from other tasks. But when my space is clear, my thinking is clear, and it's almost just like my energy as well is just uplifted. So while, again, I do like my organized clutter, I definitely have my fine lines. I would say unorganized, not so hot, but organized, definitely the way to go.
Yeah. And following into the business, so when it comes to your space as a business owner, how does it affect you when your place is unorganized or organized?
When my space is unorganized as a business owner, I have a really hard time sometimes finding documents. There are different, depending on what business or what brand essentially I'm working in, I organize myself differently. So sometimes, depending on the business, I may be doing things with a lot of paper. Sometimes my thoughts are sporadic, my ideas are sporadic. So I write things down and I don't always just use my notebook. So when I can't find my notes or a particular sticky note that I know is out there somewhere, it just makes my whole process of planning something or even just communicating with a vendor or even another influencer entrepreneur a lot harder. And it definitely makes my work days lag on a lot more. But when my space is clear, generally I'm able to get everything off my to-do list. I get my 3 meals in that day, and my day just flows so much easier, and it doesn't feel like such a drag. It feels a lot more enjoyable, but I'm also able to, for myself, feel like the business owner that I am, know that I'm being professional, I'm being, prompt, but also that I'm still able to be creative because it is still my space and I'm still doing things my way. So it doesn't feel as pressured. Whereas when things are unorganized, I definitely almost feel closed in to my business and my business activities and tasks. So definitely, again, not something that you really want when you are trying to grow a business and work with people and also just enhance personal skills you have yourself. So, definitely would say those are the differences when actually acting in my business.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. And so I want to know exactly, how do you stay organized in your space? Like, what are the things that you do? What are the tips? How do you function? Can you tell us a couple of things?
Yeah. Okay. So because I do have a plethora of interests and trades, I'll just give you guys a little insight on everything. So first we'll go with weddings and events. So with weddings and events, especially when I'm working with my clients, I love my templates. I definitely am drawn to the planning process because it's just that, it's a process. You don't really have to think much about it, but when you are thinking, it's generally creative. You're moving things around. It's not just filling in your day of timeline. It's also remembering the games you have or a special toast. So it makes a lot of creativity flow easier. So personally, I really like to use Google Drive to organize myself and my clients. I get to keep everything in one folder. And then on top of that, you can edit it. And I really do appreciate the opportunity to allow clients to edit and be hands-on with the planning process. But I know myself personally, and being a planner and a Capricorn, I do have control issues at times. Nothing bad, but I mean, as a planner, you know, any business owner, we take pride in the work we do. We do still want to make sure it is at the caliber that we want it to be at. So with that being said, having everything in Google Drive has always been the easiest way for me to operate and also communicate with multiple moving parts, especially when vendors come into play later on and they need to know the timeline, or they may have something that they want to edit just to communicate with me maybe 14 days before the wedding. So it's just my favorite way to allow multiple people to communicate, but also I love the copy feature. You can just copy your document, move it where you need to be. And then everyone that needs to be in whatever folder for whatever event can be there. And I don't have to worry about anyone not having communication or not getting a certain file when everything's there.
Right.
When it comes to social media, marketing, and branding, like I mentioned earlier, that's when a lot of different ideas come out. When my coaching style with that is, I wouldn't say sporadic, but it's custom to whoever I'm working with. So because of that, I have plenty of notebooks that have random notes from one meeting and sometimes sticky notes because something just came to me. And if I don't get it out, I'm going to lose it. So when it comes to organizing for that, I do things with a lot more paper, but because I know I like paper and I love lists, I am a list queen. I also really like to make sure I use apps. So two of my favorite apps that I absolutely love to use are Trello. You can make bunch of different lists. You can organize them differently. And I really appreciate that. But another one I've been loving on a lot lately, I even have my tab open in the background as well, is called Notion. And Notion you can use online or through your phone app, but I really appreciate it because they have a ton of different templates. You could throw a calendar in there. You could make a list in there. They have different headings. So even if you wanted to write a formal document, you can do that. So personally, again, I mainly use the list feature, but it's just awesome to have different ways to organize and always have it on your phone. Again, another reason why I do really appreciate Google Drive, because even if I'm away from my laptop, I still have all the files on my phone. I can still edit them on the go, and it just makes things easier.
Yeah.
The last case would be as an influencer. So as an influencer, I manage my Instagram page. I have a blog, CurvesNMuscles.me, and I also have an online community that I really try to pour myself into. With those, I organize myself generally through a Canva calendar. I love Canva. Tenice can attest to this. I love Canva. Canva and me are besties. But with Canva, I've actually made my own curated content calendar. So because, again, I have that template there, it's easier for me to just copy it, edit it, plug in different content that I want to post that week, or even brand collaborations that may be coming up that I need to be aware about. Sometimes I even will throw in random holidays that I can make content around, like National Ice Cream Day or take your dog for a walk day, funny, random things like that. It just allows the creativity to continue flowing, but it also helps things be not so much a task or something tedious to do. It's more fun. Like, oh yeah, I remember I was going to make a video about XYZ. Let's go make it. And, or I've already made it. Let's upload it now. So I definitely have different ways amongst all of my businesses that I like to stay organized, but I do appreciate at the end of the day, I do generally have the same system. I like my list. I try to off of list and different types of folders. So I would definitely say those are the multiple ways in which I like to stay organized.
Yeah. Awesome. And a final question here. What is one piece of advice that you would like to give to the world? It doesn't have to be related to organization or to your business or anything specific, just something that you would like to leave with us.
I think one of my favorite quotes and or words of wisdom, it's really simple, and it's really just the baby steps. I say that a lot in social media posts, but it's also a reminder I have for myself. Whenever you are making progress, be it professionally or personally, or even maybe health-wise, whatever it is, it's really all about the baby steps. I really try to find one small way that I can improve my business and or myself every day, because overall, we didn't just get here making big leaps and bounds. Yes, we get lucky. Yes, sometimes things just happen. We, run with the right group, or we just have a great opportunity. But at the end of the day, even when those things happen, you do still have to take it upon yourself to consistently make progress in small ways. For me, sometimes progress is just waking up before 7:00. Sometimes progress is just getting 3 meals in during a busy day. So I think that one has not only helped me grow personally, but it has definitely been a consistent reminder and a consistent theme while growing my business. Well, I started with event planning. Social media marketing just recently came on, so I'll say businesses now. But even with that, whenever I'm getting ready to launch a new program or just take on a new client, sometimes it gets really exciting remembering all the baby steps it did take you to get to that point. And I think as business owners, that's one thing we really have to remind ourselves of. That's one of my favorite things to do with my clients, is just say, hey, before we even do anything, before we make progress, before we make changes, let's talk about 10 things we've done in the last year that we didn't think we could accomplish, or we said we wanted to accomplish and we did, because we put a lot of pressure on ourselves because we are passionate about what we do. We love what we do, and we want to exceed, of course. But at the end of the day, we don't always remember and, allow ourselves to be grateful for the work we've done to get there. So remembering the baby steps, taking the baby steps, and just sometimes they're going to be big steps. That's totally fine. But, something small every day will really make a whirlwind of difference. So I would say remember the baby steps for sure.
Yeah. And I'm seconding that. Thank you so much for saying that, because actually that has helped me in my journey of this marketing piece of business. You guys, if you're really serious about your business and you want to do it in a way that you can actually make an impact and not just be there to be there, find people who you can connect with that actually can guide you in the right direction. And honestly, Verita, you are one of those people. So I'm really glad that we got to connect, and I'm really glad that you've been able to help me out through this little journey here. And thank you so much for hopping on here with me real quick and just sharing a little bit of information. You guys, I will link everything in the description area to where you can find Verita online. And stay tuned. And I'll be putting out some more IGTV interviews on Wednesdays. So stay in touch. Thank you.
Hey guys.